the Discord, but I generally avoid it because I made a mistake of putting, well, one of these my own. I don't know what was the mistake of doing it. Post your own stuff.
I am going to play the side of this.
Cool, that's fine. That means I am. Okay, I will be introduced. I will be the worst. I will be notorious.
So I love it. It's going to be demons versus science, and what about the people versus I've got money. Fuck off.
You mean the people of quality?
Yeah, the people of quality.
Yeah, some of us are paranoid. Like those the sun up there.
I'm not wondering. Because I this is the first of all
The what?
Well, I don't want to start wearing dick live on air, but I think I'm using the right
Live! I haven't yet got a nice fancy thing. Hello, everyone. How we all doing? I once again joined by some lovely friends that are that away. This is weird. I'm having to go backwards. You are muted. You can cause chaos if you really wish to. Thank you for the follow. Lou, you're being thank you for the follow. You are being covered by the follow. Lou, I am very sorry. I will show you the alert box. Yes, it's the alert box.
That's his life.
I'll shift it to somewhere a bit more convenient, like the middle. And, I might actually quickly, whilst I'm at this, add a widget of the chatbot, because this game is a bit different from the last one, and all the others I play. It's another GMless tabletop role-playing game, a bit like what I've been doing with these lovely people before. However, this one, where is the chat box, requires even more characters. And those characters are you guys. This will be explained in slightly more detail in a little while. I'm just going to pop the chatbot out there and shift it across. There we are. Sorry, I just got distracted by chat. And so we're playing Nowhere Kingdom. Sable, would you like to catch us up on what's been going on in this Nowhere Kingdom?
Yes. Look, first, you have to understand that it seemed like a good idea at the time. The last king of our admittedly very great kingdom didn't live up to the name, if you see what I mean. Not only was he corrupt, but perhaps worse than that, he was really bad at it. Let's put it this way. Maybe once or twice a king can sell a treasured national monument to pay for his luscious breakfast, but after a while it starts to wear thin. So, obviously, we civic-minded people of the kingdom had to do something, and we did. I was hired, being as I am a reputed warlock, and I helped them to resolve their kingdom problems by creating a gigantic summoning circle and calling forth a horde of demons. Well, you know that. You are, of course, my friends, the demons. You, of course, have fulfilled your end of the bargain by tearing up out of the many, many hells and removing our royal problem. Naturally, at first, the people rejoiced, and then, of course, everyone realized that maybe they'd caused more problems than they'd created. You see, as you know, demons, you and I have chatted many times before, because I am a reputed warlock. The deal that we'd made was you'd get rid of the king, but I traded the kingdom for 1 year. And for that year, we, the illustrious council of the great kingdom, have to solve all the normal sorts of problems that a kingdom faces. You understand, very complicated business. But of course, all of our problems have to be all of our solutions have to be put to you to decide on. Which I'm sure will end fine. But obviously, because you're demons, your interest isn't really in the good of the kingdom. Not that you're evil or anything like that. But you do, and you'll forgive me for saying this, you do tend to make the most entertaining choices, not necessarily the most useful ones. Now that's fine by me, because I, as a illustrious warlock, serve only at your pleasure. The rest of my noble counselors may not approve quite so much. Anyway, it'll probably be fine. The truth of the matter is we had very little choice. We had to get rid of the king, and this is just the price we're paying for a bit of political expediency. How much could go wrong in a single year?
Brilliant. And you can find this reputed warlock over at twitch.tv/SableWhisper.
Oh, warlock of repute, not reputed warlock.
Yeah.
He's definitely a warlock.
He's reputedly a warlock.
Reportedly a warlock.
But yes, so as Sable so eloquently put in the little introduction that's in the thing, by the way, as I put in the middle, I think somewhere down here, I'm just kind of having to go off the backwards thing of my own feed, weirdly enough. This way, I think.
I
It's
think you
by
need to point towards your microphone to hit the.
that way. Yes,
There we go,
by
yes.
at Live Vega Baby. They created this game. It's really cool. So we've all chosen council members, the character sheet of which just being we have a goal and an expertise, and I'll run through those in a second. But first, we need to talk about the most important person in you. Yes, you, the one picking your nose. Particularly just the entirety of the audience. You guys are all the demons, as they will put. You guys vote on our proposals that we end up making for these weird and wacky problems, and whichever one entertains you the most, vote for it. Vote for shits and giggles, rather than trying to spare us, as lovely folks. As can be said, although it says what can go wrong in a single year, I think it's more how much is going to go wrong in a single year. Shall we go round the thing? We've already introduced to our lovely warlock in the bottom left corner. That's his stable. So Izzy, tell me about your councilman member.
What up? My councilman member is the scientist, who is not my usual sort of character, but I've decided why not. I imagine that they take a pretty dim view of the warlock and the warlock's doings and dealings, but they are a figure of skepticism and science. Magic, demons, nonsense. It's all weather balloons and swamp gas. I am going to bring the enlightenment to the kingdom, and technology shall be our catalyst. So I'm going to do some real wacky shit. If we can fix it with science, then we should. Demons, well, I don't hardly know her. Also, it's an excuse, as with all my characters, to wear really weird, wacky glasses.
Same for me, but that's just my normal glasses.
Science!
And Lou, would you like to introduce your...
Well, I'm going to be the traditionalist. Yes. Yes, you remember 20 years ago when we founded all the, etc. And then as long as you keep everything going, just ticking over the same way. I mean, why would you break what's not fixed? I mean, fix what's not broken, etc., etc. There you go.
I love it. Such a perfect impression of nobody in particular, I'm sure. And of course, as is sometimes sort of, I guess, played up in things like Among Trash, as I am comparatively a little bit young, I am the frail Dickensian waif, who I assume was just a sympathy vote from you guys in the demon crowd, just to add a bit more last situation. Because Gavna, we all know that the I'm not going to keep this accent up because it's shite. We all
Where are you from? We can't tell. Is it
No.
London?
But
London?
I don't know.
Michael, you're northern. Be a little northern waif.
Yes.
I
The
don't know
north
how
has
to do Northern
the
Way.
north.
I'm
The
fairly
north,
sure the North has rampant
Full of waves.
the
problems.
north has plenty of ways. Be a little. Oh, I'm from north.
I think they still have coal power stations up there. Don't you have to clean
I've
some
lost
massive
Going down
chimneys or
pit.
something?
Leave me down.
I'm going down pit with
Going
me
down
down.
for Black Lung.
Yeah,
Mining tin or something. Is
I'm
that
mining tin.
still done?
Cornwall.
Tin's down south.
Why would I know? I'm not southern.
I
I'm
know.
from the east.
East.
We don't mine bugger all in the east.
Fish. You mine fish.
We do mine fish,
Swamps.
actually. That is
So do we around one. But the
True. Yeah,
I keep
different.
getting distracted by chat. You guys are on top of your game today. I love this. But yeah, the wave sort of idea is more submitting sort of the childish proposals that would not be sort of considered otherwise. So first one. Anyone particularly want to be the first council member? For the first role, and we'll sort of talk this one through. If not, I'll pick someone. I'll do the teacher thing.
We think it should be you because it's
We
your
do.
channel.
We
Yes.
actually think it should
Yes.
be you.
Oh, fair enough.
Unanimously, it's you. Do
Damn
it.
it. It was worth a
Your
try.
channel.
I was going to try and get Sable to do it again as the one who put us all in this mess. So, we've all decided the council head, and you've decided me for some bizarre reason.
You've got pluck.
Yes. Do I?
I've had a chance.
You were the least. You were the least worst option. None of us could agree, and you were like,
Yeah.
"Why?"
Okay, so Voice works.
Sorry, you're a Northern Wraith. You're a Northern Wraith, I'll remember that.
Northern Wraith. Woo! Spooky. Let's not try.
Now we can't be council members.
Let's try not to get into a giggle loop on my own stream.
So goodbye to your professionalism.
Yeah. Do you think this channel was professional in the first place? I just use like cool graphics and fancy music to make it seem professional, and even then,
We shouldn't have elected this waif to be.
We shouldn't have done.
It just
Exactly,
put
I can't
shiny
roll-
things everywhere.
I rolled the dice off the table. I got a 3, and a 4. One of our allies is asking for our help after a natural disaster. Well, I'd say we go around the thing. So, scientist. You have about. It says about a minute. I'm just going to say until you run out of steam on a possibility. To be fair, unless it's really going on with a proposal.
Well, for starters, we shall never run out of steam, provided we turn the natural disaster, which I have imagined is some sort of flood, into an abundant source of power by which to reverse the natural disaster. That's right, I'm suggesting we take floodwater, put it into a great steam engine to pump out the excess floodwater. Are you with me so far? So, I reckon that with a series of gaskets spread across the kingdom, we can siphon excess floodwater not only into usable steam power, but to farms and other such things that require water, like public parks, nice public park ponds. Who's to say that people who need water aren't already in these flooded places? Perhaps we can organise some sort of rota system wherein people who are without water get shunted into the floodwater territories, having skimmed off all the cholera or whatever, and they can take water back to their local communities. Some sort of timeshare scheme for the local water. With pumps. You with me? So, I'm proposing steam power, pumps, rotors.
Yes, yeah. Okay. And it's question time for this. Sir.
Yes, young waif.
With the timeshare water, will people have to like bring it back once they're done with
Yes,
it?
obviously. Or replace it in kind.
Right.
I imagine a lot of the water that they return will be piss, but we can do something with that. Water is water, after all.
Indeed it is, sir.
And that's a source of rich ammonium salts for the alchemists. I'm so sorry, Lou. Lou, I'm so sorry.
I'm sorry.
You know, water doesn't generate steam power. Steam power is released by effervescent spirits that live in coal.
Pa! Pa!
Well, all right. My question is, are you proposing we use some of our very valuable coal and the effervescent spirits that live within the coal to help a foreign nation when we could help the people back home?
I am suggesting that we make use of the excess water to our own benefit and help this other nation through use of their excess water that they don't want. With our ingenuity, we can create power for our kingdom, remove the water from their kingdom, be heroes and pioneers.
Now see here. Cholera has been good enough for this kingdom since the beginning of time. I won't be having any of this newfangled hygiene and other nonsense. That the people of this kingdom know where they are with cholera, and I must strongly protest at any impingement on this kingdom's right to die of cholera.
Perhaps then I could minimize the amount of cholera we take out, but maintain the fundamental steam-powered water sharing principle.
I will move on the steam, which again is altogether too modern and untested for my liking. But as long as we really remain properly cholerified.
I've taken your points on board.
The solution is absurd. I have one of my own honoured council members, if I may. Have you ever heard the phrase killing two birds with one stone? It's how most warlocks get started. They give you a stone, you cast the right spell, two birds drop from the trees. More about my upcoming autobiography later. My policy is a simple one, and the two birds' names are whingy neighbours to our country and us not having enough land.
Yeah.
Now, I know what you're thinking. Land? This country has just been flooded. They have less land, if anything. Hear me out. Water park. I can conjure some demons to staff and incidentally enjoy the new water park. Now, this won't get rid of the flooding, but it will solve the problem. The problem is a foreign neighbor asking us for help. Well, if we take their land, then they won't exist to ask us for help. The problem is solved. We have a water park, and there are more demons to splish around and enjoy themselves.
I was with you on the invasion, but I'm iffy over the water park.
I'm happy to take questions.
Please, sir. Your voice has changed again, apparently.
Yes, irrelevant
Wait.
pre-puberty waif.
Speak up, lad.
Please, sir. With the demons that will be staffing the this here water park, will they be getting annual leave to also enjoy the water park?
My demons are all unionized. They believe in 8 hours of work, 8 hours of play, and 8 hours of rest, as has been the promise of demons for many millennia. Good question. Excellent question, if I may say. A very handsome question.
Thank you, sir.
Unionized? The demon? No one told me the demons were unionized.
Oh yes. The demons are unionized, but I'll answer your question if you have a question.
Who is going to be your water park? Who is going to ensure the scientific rigor of your water park? How complicated are your water park slides supposed to be?
Well, fortunately, as you probably don't know because you're a denier of the manifest and obvious existence of demons, demons are actually capable of 5-dimensional thinking, which means the water slides will be very complicated, rotating through axes hitherto unimagined by the human mind.
If, as you are suggesting, 5-dimensional travel is possible...
I can only take one question, I believe.
Damn. Fine, you talk to him, Tory scum.
Ah, Lord Tory Scum! Welcome, welcome! Your question, please!
I see the procedures. You may only be asked one question. You've been asked one question.
I can only ask one question per council member, I think.
I'm lost, I'm afraid.
I've asked the science question, the waif has asked the waif question, you must now ask the traditional question.
Come on, foreign invasion, bread and circuses for the common plebs.
He makes a very, very good... As I say, I'm on board with the invasion prospect. There is some concern about the water park. I mean, that sounds like frivolous time wasting for...
Yes. I quite understand. Let me answer your question. You are correct. However, if you remember, my plan does not involve removing any of the waterborne or miasmic diseases associated with floodwater. So what will in fact be happening at this water park is while the common people think they're being entertained by the water demons, they're also getting the sort of infectious diseases that keep everyone under your thumb. You can open another hospital in the name of some made-up saint or other and rake in the cash. Meanwhile, the demons are splashing around and having a hell of a time. A hell of a time! That will be the slogan of the water park.
So this demon, this water park is specifically for the demons to enjoy and will not distract the common people from their toil.
I don't believe I'm allowed to answer any further questions, though I imagine any demons working at the water park would enjoy its facilities.
Very well.
Please, Lord Torrescam, it is time for your proposal, in fact.
Proposal? Newfangled proposals. Well, I propose, if I must propose, I propose that we do nothing. Why should we waste our resources? Kingdom resources for kingdom people. I won't be having any of these lollygagging neighbors who lazily allow their nation to become flooded and expect handouts from us. My proposal is to leave them to deal with their own problems.
Well, it may be a bit confusing, sir, but I do know that our kingdom sells a lot of fish, and if this foreign kingdom remains flooded for a long time, they may also start selling fish. Do you have a proposal for if they muscle in on our fish market?
Muscle, good one. Our fish, being kingdom fish, are clearly automatically superior. And therefore, our product will obviously be more likely to be... no one could possibly want nonsensical, lazy, flooded nation fish over our superior quality fish. That we've been fishing here since time immemorial in the traditional kingdom fashion.
Viscount Tory scum, a question if I may.
Yes.
Your proposal admittedly amounts to doing bugger all.
Yes.
How is that going to help us and our position overseas?
Why should I care what Johnny Foreigner thinks of our position?
Okay,
Our
so
position is superior, clearly.
Viscount Torrescam,
Mhm.
if we are not doing anything about the neighbouring water abundance in foreign countries, what are we going to be using that funding for? I might suggest we funnel it back into funding for innovation.
You did wisely point out the possibility of an invasion, whilst the flooded country are but I much as in my patriotic heart, I think that we could rule their country better. That would involve, again, such wasting precious resources that should be poured into the kingdom itself. And whilst now we do have a long tradition of invading other places, no, I'm. If the council votes, if the demonic friends vote on an invasion, then was an invasion possible, Mr. Speaker? I can't remember.
Nothing to your proposal is we do fuck all.
My proposal is absolutely that we do fuck all, but to help them. But if we wish to hinder them and we wish to invade them, then that would be entirely acceptable as well. But for the time being, my proposal is we continue, as we have recently, be doing fuck all to since the question was, should we aid these people? Well, it was that we should aid these people, yes. Right.
Yes, it was.
Yes, yeah, I propose that we do not aid them, but I am not opposed to an invasion.
Yes. Good members of the Great Council, I also do indeed have a proposal, as well as the one bringing the bearer of this bad news. Well, the good warlock here had a very good point about people having fun. And I know the best way. I have in my one day off a year, I often like going to the sea, and I bring along a relatively buoyant door, and I play around in that in the water. And so what I'm proposing is, they're very fun. They're also very much a nice stable surface on the nice solid surface on the water. If we give the other kingdom all these doors, we get our carpenters working night and day for it. Eventually, We can use them to have fun. We can use them to have. They can use them to rebuild, and in the meantime, while they're spending all their time depending on us, we can eventually make them a vassal.
In fact, his wife is ruthless. Jesus Christ.
This waif
Well, I
is
mean, like,
savage.
after we give them all these doors, they'll, obviously realise that we are, they're our best. We will be their best friends, and so they'll want to help us out in things, and so eventually the two countries sort of become one bigger country. But obviously, it's not my plan. It's the plans of the demons after all. We've mainly explained the thing. And now it is time for you demons to do your voting.
Well, we haven't asked you any questions
Oh, you
yet.
haven't asked me any questions. That's a good point.
I have grave
nice try,
concerns.
lad.
I have grave concerns about this door problem. This foreign nation is irresponsible enough to let itself get flooded, and we're going to have our carpenters with their own one day off a year working to make doors for them.
But that would also like
So
do
that all
that
the
whole...
Jackson Roses of the country can hover around and decide whom to euthanize for the sake of the romance. No. My question for you is this. Who will replenish our wood?
I think that once we've all become one big happy country together, we would then be able to take on, become one big happy country with other countries who'd have more wood. So it's friendship in the end of the day, isn't it?
How are you proposing that we automate this door creation process?
Well, most doors are just a slab of wood, really. So I'd imagine we get some very particularly thick tree trunks, or sets of planks, and we essentially saw them in sections. So it's like long, thin ones, rather than actual normal doors. I'm using doors just because it's what I have, but any sort of slab of buoyant wood would work. Theoretically, I have seen some lovely driftwood to play on. I think it was 3 years ago now. It was before the Black Lung. That was it. It was before the Black Lung, so it must have been 3-4 years ago. I was 7 at the time.
You're still 7. I think you're, by law, perpetually 7.
Yes, you're not allowed to age
Your race, if you would.
until we figured it out. We don't know what it is, but we're going to figure it out.
My question is about the construction of the doors, and will it be done in the traditional kingdom fashion?
Well, I mean...
Yes, because these are sounding like some pretty innovative doors that you're suggesting. These single slices of tree.
Well, I did say they wouldn't necessarily be doors, but if, as our nation is also, as well as a good fishing nation, a very well-known door-making nation, if it would if you think it would do that whole, what's the word? Stipulating the ectoplasm? Something like that? If it would do that, to do the thing all traditional-like, then, yeah. I mean, the door I have is relatively traditional, and it floats fine.
I'm glad to hear we'll be stipulating the ectoplasm.
It floats fine.
It needs a
Perhaps we could
boost.
make it float better.
Now,
but-
I won't be hearing any innovation in these doors. If we're going to be loaning out our doors to some random foolish foreign
Also-
nation, we won't be changing the traditional design of them.
Also, all I can think, just drawing that character for a second, all I can think of innovating the doors is automatic doors.
Yes!
Hey, finally, we
sounds-
have it. There's these people in the initiative. And finally, we have a solid surface to build our new structures on. Walk on it, straight into the water.
Oh, we can put a bit of tape over the door sensor.
Indeed, and it'd be a nice glass floor then, as well.
So yes,
So now I've actually had the questions. I think it is time indeed for the demons to do their voting thing. If we're doing this with the old Twitch chat thing, then I would say send, I don't know, Sweet FA if you want to do Earl Torrescum Esquire's plan.
remember the four
Water
plans
park.
are steam-powered piss timeshare,
Water park.
demon water park,
Yeah, it's your boy.
We do nothing, and then maybe do or don't invade, and doors for everyone.
I like how the scientist has presented these views entirely objectively. You couldn't possibly tell of their biases based on how they've presented them.
I think they were pretty. I think that I was pretty fair and reasonable.
Bias is very traditional.
But bias is inherently science. You can't spell science without bias.
The demons know who has their interest at heart.
I'm a scientist, not a
and it's not-
literaturist.
And it's not pandering to say that these are the finest demons that any kingdom has ever been beset by.
And as a scientist, I feel it's important that I write the summations for all of our debates.
An abstract, yeah.
I do believe, my good council members, that the water park is currently leading in the poll.
It's 4
wow.
votes for water park,
The
2
count.
votes
for
for
gaskets and piss.
Stop the count. Enough demons have voted now.
I'd say that it's more than half. It's more than half. I'll give you that. Not more than half of the ones voting water park, but it's more than half of the ones in chat according to Streamlabs.
Yes, but some of those demons are also us.
Yes,
Our alter
indeed.
ego, our demonic
Surprised there isn't a voting widget somewhere.
There probably is. I just don't know how to set it up. I'll see if I can set it up quickly. Whilst somebody else
plus this way we get to see how they break down the thing they're voting
True.
for, which is very amusing.
There is a vote thing. I don't know how to set it up.
Rubber rings.
Instant replays, subscription goal, stream label, media share, chat box, the jar. There's a tip jar, but I'm not at the point where I can get chips, so that doesn't work.
Hey, here's a tip. You should sit up straighter, because you thank yourself in 10 years' time.
As they used to say at the traditionalists' school, you don't get tips you're not open for.
Indeed. Also, I need to shift.
Well,
Yes, but that was when Binky and Muffy were
how
being
long do
very
they have to
homosexual.
vote then?
So I would say that Water Park wins on that one.
Thank
I'll-
you, demons.
I will do a mark
Memory
somewhere
already spotted.
because, to be fair, the demons do at the end of this year decide who is king through a complicated process of whoever they prefer the proposals of most.
So I'll keep track for you. I'm the scientist.
Thank you, good scientist. So indeed, we're now moving on to the next head of the council to tell us the grave news.
If I may interrupt slightly,
situation.
I believe we're supposed to review
we
how
do.
the policy has been enacted and what effect it's had, are we not?
We do indeed.
Nice
Well then,
procedure.
yes, indeed, procedure. I am, a young child who doesn't know much
You are,
procedure. I am
you are a
7.
very young child. It was frankly a complete mistake to have appointed you to such a high office. But that's
I think his youth and vigor will bring great things to this nation.
It's also traditional to have the voice of
Well-
a child on the council in order that you can notice when things are bollocks because the
well,
child
someone
will
has
point it
to
out.
pour the drinks.
Yes.
So
Oh yes, I can do with a sherry actually.
I'll
with you,
kick
sir.
off saying, answering the question: how did the policy affect those within your expertise? Well, I am an expert on demons, as all the demons know, and now that the demons have successfully annexed the floodplains of our neighboring kingdom, they're having a fantastic time. So far, no humans who've gone to the water park seem to have come back from it. But overall, demon morale is very high right now.
Thank you, good Mr. Warlock, sir. If I may answer the question myself, the no intended effect of this indeed policy is the fact that the demons have essentially, on their days off, due to a slight shortage, have eyed on the humans that have gone whilst they've gone off for a quick break and just kept them eyed there. So indeed, the whole ectoplasm been stipulated by humans now working at the Demon Water Park. I mean, the demons can all go play some more on the sides.
Right, so on then. I personally have been affected by this policy in that since all the all this excellent water has occurred anywhere else, I think a number of my constituents are not currently suffering from cholera. In fact, there's been less cholera since the water's been directed elsewhere, and there's significantly less stagnant water, and I'm very, very disappointed. But we are, of course, subject to the whims of these newfangled, subject to the whims, in fairness, a very ancient and traditional being, the demon, and therefore I have a certain amount of respect for them. But I'm hoping the future policies will improve my lot rather than personally irritating me.
And
Demons, of course, are very old-fangled. They're one of the oldest fangled.
Yes,
there
which is
are.
why I was willing to support your original foray, Mr. Warlock. But I myself am nowhere near the age of the average demon. Therefore, they are the most traditional of beings, apart from, of course, gods.
if I may indeed be interjecting, I must say, the demon known as Ash from now on, you could indeed use your demonic powers to conjure yourself up some ice cream. If I've been told you demons can do anything.
Yes, but demons don't exist, so it'd only be theoretical ice cream.
True.
If demons don't exist, whose
voting?
favor are you looking for then?
I'm not! I'm looking for science!
Well, who do you think is enacting these policies we're suggesting if it's not demons?
The forces of science!
This imbecile denies your existence, demons. You going to put up with that? Of course you're not.
Anyway, the as I was saying, how I have benefited from this policy is that through sending the all those people who have tragically or unintentionally gotten lost on the way back or to the water park, I have been packing various park attendees with sensor arrays of my own devising, mostly sort of wiggly needles on bits of paper and a number of carrier pigeons stuffed into their coats that have little bottles that collect essences from, the various etheric forces. That have all been returning to me a tremendous quantity, I have no idea what time period we're in, a tremendous quantity of data all about this fifth dimensional travel that I heard so much about. And I have been using it to fuel further research into the scientific capabilities of the fifth dimension and whether we can harness it for machines and devices and some sort of doomsday device, perhaps. But, mostly, barcode scanning and something to sort out the recycling before you put it out by the curb so that you don't have to do it yourself, because that's a right faff.
3 dimensions is always good enough in my day. But,
Now, indeed, the demons have made a good point that the essence theft is considered a crime in this here kingdom. But, however, I do believe that the punishment in the case of a council member is being the next head of the council. So, congratulations, I guess. That means you get to be the bearer of the bad news, which means if we do indeed want to shoot a messenger, we shoot you.
So how do I do this? What's happening? What's going on?
Roll 2d6, and
Great,
then
I
there's a
can do
table.
A table! I shall innovate it.
now.
It's indeed it's a well buoyant table. It would have been brilliant for giving to this foreign nation.
Your
we tend to
proposal
walk
was
park.
doors, not tables. Maybe they'd have gone for it if it was tables.
Oh, maybe.
Yes.
So is that from the second column?
So the
Maybe
first
you roll
the first roll is the big numbers, and the second roll is the little columns underneath.
Oh, I
problem
get
chart.
ya.
Yeah.
Oh, I get ya. I understand now. Okay. Right. Trade and tourism.
Ooh.
What exciting new item or promotion can we produce to get other countries interested in the Great Kingdom? Big questions.
It is indeed. It is indeed a big question.
Exciting.
Well,
New.
well, they say the gods aren't making new land. That's very true. But my reckless water park policy has been creating vacated land. So here's what I suggest we market to foreign countries. come to our country, get a free house. Now, you might be thinking, hold on a moment. If they're not investing in our infrastructure, if they're not paying their way onto the property ladder, how are they in any way valuable as people? You're not thinking in enough dimensions. The demons know more people is more souls. We get more people to come to the country. Well, that water park just keeps churning out fifth dimensional frolics. That is the entirety of my proposal. We invite them all here. We tell them, come to our country, get a free house. The demons get more souls. We get more laborers for our farms and factories, whatever historical era this is.
I think this is in a sort of weird, sort of, I guess, pocket between every
I
single
like
time period.
it. I
It's
like
great.
I will now take questions.
How do you intend to have these houses constructed?
Well, the houses are already constructed. They are the houses lived in by the people drawn to the new water park. As I say, they seem to love the water park so much they never seem to want to come back. We've got a lot of empty houses. It's a bit of a problem. So let's solve that problem and promote our glorious culture, while at the same time providing more entertainment for my friends and constituents.
Fair.
Well, good sir. Well, you see, with this whole taking the houses of, my colleagues and stuff from down mine who've gone to your water park, he is, how's best to phrase this? Well, you see, like, I don't know, maybe it's a single hell belief of mine, but it's not always a house. A house is not always a home until you get like a home warming gift. So will the us or the demons or someone be providing home warming gifts for anyone coming to the nation?
Well, this is another one of these brilliant warlock problems that ties a bow on itself. You see, when the new dwellers arrive at their new homes, they will receive as a gift a demon. The demon, of course, will receive as a gift a human or family of humans.
Indeed, that does seem really interesting.
Now, Councilman Warlockstein.
It's Warlockburg. We've disassimilated.
Of course. Councilman Warlockberg, we have been discussing what you believe is the matter of the souls that the demons can suck out of people.
That is a rude and offensive stereotype, but do go on.
I, however, believe that what you are referring to is in fact some sort of flux in the fifth dimensional waveform. Therefore, what I am asking is that if you are proposing that when people move into a house you disrupt the fifth dimensional waveform in such a way as to produce whatever it is you're suggesting, lovely home feelings, some sort of rudimentary tinsel, an infinite supply of chocolate or something, what are you proposing to do with the energy runoff that is caused by the parallel exchange between demonic forces and the homeowners in question? The homos, if you will.
Yes. Well,
The demon versus homo energy paradox.
that is an interesting, if very weirdly expressed question. I think what you're asking is, if we empower the demons, what will happen to all the power that the demons possess? Is that the question?
I suppose if you want to phrase it in such a
Well,
woo way.
as I've said, the demons are, of course, unionized. It's not for me to tell the demons what to do with their newfound power, but I will say this. They have 8 hours of work, 8 hours of rest, and 8 hours of play. Now, during some portion of their day, the demons may choose to use the power for whatever they wish. For my part, since they have ownership, or at least constitutional guidance over our kingdom for the rest of this year, it seems to me as though the demons are at perfect liberty to do with their excess power whatever they like, but I'm sure they will find some way to remember who their boy is and kick up a little.
Oh yeah, I did do a question. It's been a very, very, very interesting proposal. if I may interject with one of my own, recently, when I got back from working down Pit, where my accent makes even less sense, the my mother had bought us some photo frames. I'm not really sure why, but the considering we don't have a camera, I don't even know what a camera is. Have they been invented yet? I don't know.
No one knows.
Indeed. But inside of these frames was like images of like a beach somewhere, and it's a really lovely beach. And I'd love to, I'd love to, go to it. So what I'm suggesting is we, as well as our traditional dolls, we start making frames for these images, and we include like a default, a picture in all of them that is the one that tells them how big the thing is. But it's a really nice view of the old castle we have up the street, or the water park, or somewhere like fancy that people would want to come to. And so, like, when they get the thing for these weird picture things, they go, "Ooh, that's a nice place. Maybe I'll keep that as it is, and we'll go there one day." And so, eventually, as obviously this makes perfect sense, they'll all, come here because it looks pretty.
Are you suggesting we give these items away or
No. Sell them. It's a trade.
No further questions.
I have a question. And what about the parts of our kingdom that are arse ugly?
Well, we don't put those on the pictures.
No, but what's going to happen? My concern is, if I may expand on my question a little without taking the Michael, with apologies to all the Michaels who, of course, should be purged, is
should
this.
indeed.
What if they see one of your picture postcards, right, of lovely Brichtenbisch, and they come over to Brichtenbisch, and they see that, in fact, it's largely slavery memorials and nonsense?
Well, you see, the hope is that, that castle that's that way might be, like, pretty enough that it would, like, make people go more congregate around on those bits and not the ugly bits.
I see.
And eventually that means it gives us enough time to prettify the ugly bits in advance. So when we need to do photos of those bits, they look all pretty like.
I have a question. Views and buildings and seasides are all well and good. Have we considered putting scientific diagrams into these photo frames and then gluing them into the frame so that they cannot be removed, so that people will learn science when they buy a frame?
Well, I was with you up until the, like, gluing it in. That kind of defeats the point unless we...
stick it to the glass.
Yeah, it kind of defeats the point of it being a photo frame. However, I do see the thing of putting it on the other bit, the bit behind the glass.
No.
So the photo goes in front. So you
That
learn
wasn't
it on.
my question.
You learn it on the way home. You learn the science on your way home, and that if you're interested in the science, which I assume most people would be, science was very interesting at the school I went to for that one day before being sent out mines.
School?
It was only one day.
A day off? School? I'm sure the traditionalist is spoiling to tell you exactly how spoiled you are.
Absolutely.
As I said, it was one day, and then the school burnt down in a mysterious mine explosion, and I think that was the day after you, Grand Marquis Turriscum was seen running away from the scene of the crime with a lit torch. But, I ain't gonna say anything about that. School is already gone, but the one day I was there before it burnt down, it was just very interesting, the science. So I have a feeling that if we put the science stuff on the inside, maybe thing. But first, I do believe that the good points of the king, the pretty things, even if it's like the food and like people with enjoying themselves in the kingdom or whatever, would be interesting first. And then once we have a lot of people starting to come in and people know to come to this kingdom for the pretty views, then we put the science in. It also gives us a lot of time so we can forget that proposal like however many years down the line. And if I may step down and accept no further questions.
Who's next?
I shall go next. So, I would like to, first of all, raise some issues with the wording of this demand, proposal, whatever. Particularly the words new, exciting, and promotion.
I liked it. I phrased that question. I wrote it for us.
I can tell. Now, if I draw your attention back to one of the previous proposals, that of invasion. So, now I would like to propose not in any way new and very traditional means of interesting countries in your other countries, in the fine and ancient culture of your country, which is colonialism. Now, you simply invade their country, force them to act the way you do, until they see the things that you do as far superior to the things they do, thus automatically making them interested in the things that you produce and or do in your country.
That does indeed sound like an interesting proposal. I was definitely paying attention for all of it, and not getting distracted by my phone. That I definitely don't have.
Yes.
I definitely don't have.
Youths, always distracted by their phones. Who gave you that?
It's just a lump of coal he holds up to his ear sometimes.
I was going to say, I do believe it was you, my grand dear councilman scientist. You gave me this device saying it might blow up, but have fun.
A smartphone for every waif. That was one of mine.
It was indeed. But
These
still,
days don't even know they're carved.
My question would be, if we're like giving them all our culture and stuff, why would they then have a reason to come here? Which I think was the phrasing of the original question. Without people coming here.
To learn how to do our culture better, because they will think we will have taught them, enforced on them,
The school's
knowledge that our culture is
the
better.
school got burnt down, as I said in my proposal. The school's already burnt down, so where are we going to do the teaching?
I propose a series of unpaid internships.
Ooh, indeed. Sounds fascinating, sir.
We call those research assistants.
Yes, it's an ancient and traditional way of teaching people.
We
things.
call them magician's apprentices, but yes, I think the
Yeah.
is the same thing. All right. My question is this: how do you respond to allegations that this policy of yours amounts to an increase in immigration, but no increase in tourism?
Oh, I see. He's done all political life for this question.
I would argue that when a sizable proportion of our military force and associated hangers-on, camp followers, etc., have emigrated to this other country in order to conquer it, the net immigration overall will actually be in negative figures.
Indeed. That makes some sense. So I don't know why you'd be like sending the troops out in nets.
Well, we are an ancient fishing.
We are indeed ancient
Country.
fishing indoors.
And it is more efficient to transport things in nets, like oranges.
Indeed, and doors.
Anyway,
I'm not allowed to ask any more questions, but I want it stated for the record that I find it baffling that the idea is to make our country so appealing it becomes unappealing.
If we keep exporting all the oranges, then it'll be significantly less appealing, yes.
that was a very funny and
That was a very
tra-
Mike C joke.
That was a very
That was good.
traditional humour.
Yeah. Indeed.
So, my question is, some sort of mimetic gas? Question mark?
You don't explain that. That sounds somewhat newfangled. No. Mimetic gas. There's no need for gas. Well, unless you want to gas the people you don't, that you consider undesirable.
Lord!
I don't think I do, Councilman
Mustard
Tormoscum.
gas, though very traditional, is extremely difficult to
And
manufacture.
patriotic.
And patriotic. No. We in my day, we passed on our memes the traditional way by repeating them to the people forcing them until the memes in question were buried fully in their brain and refusing to allow their original native memes. No. We spread memes the old-fashioned
Indeed,
way.
press F in the chat for the native memes.
F in chat for native.
Well,
and of course,
not to sound like the
Sorry, that was a bit-
traditionalist, but in my days, mimetic gases used to be funny.
and of course, back in your day, your memes were,
Bacon has cheese,
the woman with the knife represents positive agricultural reform, and the man with the hat represents our nation's great farmers.
And every
Good
cartoon has to have
old-fashioned
a lion with a staff that says Britannia draped over it. The lion is either sleeping or eating something.
Yeah.
And the caption
Old.
and the caption reads, "Mr. Gordon doesn't know what hit him."
Yeah.
These are excellent memes.
In my day, we put memes on shields and wore them to battle.
Be my war memes.
You wore your memes on your body.
Lol.
Call them heraldry.
He's got Argent
It's
Barry
the
Wavy.
distracted boyfriend meme, but it's Edward I, the English throne, the French throne.
Yes. Good old-fashioned memes.
Sorry, I need to now actually tweet that.
It's all right. I'm thinking some meme innovations for the council. I'm thinking like, lol, why you know memes.
Very good.
Why you know, except our dominant culture.
I'm thinking.
And has anyone ever noticed how funny owls are?
I'm thinking that we send, in answer to your question, as part of spreading our culture, if they refuse our culture, we just send them a modern meme that just says, lol, get wrecked. They won't know what hit them.
Perfect.
As long as it's not the mustard gas. Yes, you always know when the mustard gas hits you.
Indeed, now I think it is time to slightly sidle into the good
As the scientist,
the good scientists go. That's what I was going to say.
Right. What exciting new item or promotion can we produce to get other countries interested in the Great Kingdom? Respected ladies, gentlemen, both and neither of the council, I bring forward for your perusal and delectation one word. Lasers. Several words to explain what I'm saying.
Isn't a laser technically 5 words? It's an acronym.
Somebody mute the wave. Somebody silence the wave.
That's your question asked.
Yeah, great question, wave. I am suggesting that we strap lasers around the castle that will perform a grand and dramatic light show every single night, perhaps to the popular tunes of the day, to perhaps to Thine Mistress Fair or Kids Bop, and we flood the plaza around with smoke and powders and perhaps some sort of hallucinogenic mimetic gas, and that all night the lasers go off in a great spiraling fractal pattern, so that nations from far and wide and even further cannot help but marvel at our technological advance and go, God, looks like they're having a rave over there, and then they come in and they get on one, and then also our people here can enjoy the lasers as a sort of permanent aesthetic art installation, but one that shows off our technological advancements in making lasers, which, as we can all agree, whatever our tech level is, are pretty wicked cool.
This is not a question, but a statement of fact, as I have already indeed asked my question. But I see, if we're going back to the talk about memes earlier, you are firing your laser. You know.
What?
The old It's very. I thought that was quite an old one. I'm a firing
Very
a laser.
old-fashioned meme, that. I approve.
Yes.
That's too old. That's so old-fashioned a meme. The judicialist went, that's a bit old-fashioned for me.
That was one of his
If
grandfather's memes.
there
Yeah, mate.
were anything too old-fashioned for me, it would
And the
be that.
traditionalist thinks modern memes are, look at that mammoth on a cave wall. I have a question about these lasers.
Yeah.
I presume when you refer to lasers, you are referring to the plant Silphium, otherwise known as laserwort. The question I have, therefore, is how do you propose to get the plants to grow tall enough that this great display of yours is visible from far enough away for it to be worth doing?
I'm so glad you asked. I am suggesting that a whole new system that I have invented in which we take concentrated silphium and pass it through a very cold fifth dimensional gas tube, which will create laser light, or as I'm calling it, Lasli, which is going to be fired off into the sky, which will produce a similar effect to the natural silphium plant, but improved through science.
And it might hurt any demons nearby. Yes, I understand your agenda. Thank you. I yield the rest of my time.
Also, Waif, I didn't hear your question, so you can ask a new question.
I thought indeed you did ask a question, but I'll go back to it. I thought even with this plant Lasorium silphium, that indeed it was in the what are they called? An acronym, I think is the phrase, where it's all the letters.
Who taught you about acronyms?
That one day in school did. The school's burnt down already. You can't burn them down more. Well, maybe the demons can, but you guys.
Demons burn down the ghost school.
I thought you. I thought you didn't believe in demons or ghosts.
That was a slip of the
Mr.
tongue. I didn't mean that. Ask your question.
Indeed.
5-dimensional beings burned down
Well,
the ghost.
how if this planet, if these kingdoms are far enough away, surely this castle and its light show would be over the horizon, so they would be worried that it would be like a something worse rather than an inviting display, but I don't know, some kind of weird other a weird way of warfare or something like that over the horizon.
Now, the curvature of the Earth is just a theory at the moment, but if we take it as read, I reckon that if we build the Lasli lights high enough, I'm aware that I just said laser lights, but I think it'll catch on. If we build the Lasli high enough, then the tower will rise above the curvature of the Earth and be visible for all to see across the hypothetical fifth dimensional barrier and potentially aliens.
Curvature?
Like I said, it's a theory.
It is a hypothesis.
It's a
apparently.
hypothesis.
Seems odd to me.
It's a bit of a far-fetched hypothesis, but one that I'm willing to take into account if it means good tourism for the great nation of us.
Well, if I may pose my question to the... I haven't already, have I?
No, you haven't.
No.
haven't
Yeah,
need
yes.
to.
Thank you. Now, as you're no doubt aware, I would have to strongly object to newfangled nonsense like Lasli and that sort of thing. But if the demons, who as we've established are very, very old and therefore clearly know what they're talking about, did choose that, I would like your assurance that this display, this frivolous display, would at least have some traditional themes to it, and if so, what would those themes be?
I've got it. Every morning, we turn the Lasli displays off because obviously the natural Lasli created by the sun will block out our rays, so there'll be no point in wasting our precious concentrated silphium. Therefore, at the time that we are to turn off the light show display, I propose that the display plays the national anthem every night so that everyone can gather round, listen to the national anthem, and then the Lasli display goes off for the day.
No further questions.
Indeed, and I think that was also no further proposals from the council. So if our good demon friends or essence friends, if we're the scientists, would like to vote,
Five-dimensional beings.
we have indeed the invasion from Viscount Tory Scum. We have the Lasli from our good friend the scientists. We have the free homes and free souls from the Warlock, and we have the tourism brochures in picture frames from me. So
Vote now!
feel free to vote in the chat.
Home for every family, soul for every demon. It's your boy.
But also pretty pictures. Pretty
Give
pictures.
a damn what you vote for, as long
Yep.
as you're certain.
There will be
No
more souls.
voting.
Due to the nature of people coming to this country, due to this influx, there would always be more people coming in. The demon known as Neo Shenrune, so all these proposals would indeed get you more souls.
No, they're talking about tourists. I'm talking about residents.
I mean, if someone tours long enough, they become a resident anyways, so...
That sounds like immigration.
And giving them a home isn't? Anyways. So we have 2 votes for the
Two votes for
Lasley.
lasers.
1 vote for Resident Evil, which I believe would be a vote for Senator
Souls.
Capcom. And 1 about trading in souls. So,
There seems to be 2 for 2 on the souls and the lasers so far.
indeed.
3 for the lasers.
3 for the lasers, secret lasers.
Any further votes?
I don't know, but we can give them a couple of minutes, and I do believe we could then call a quick break to the proceedings after that, as 2's neatly filled up just over an hour. And we can do the other 2 on the thing, and then round off this particular session of the council that's lasting a whole year. If that sounds reasonable to the other people.
We're keeping track of who was winning.
I don't need a break, but I'm happy to take one if you want to.
Yeah. And indeed, I do believe that the scientist is using their fancy data stuff to keep track.
Some sort of chart.
It's a pink pen!
Jolly scientist.
Fancy. Only pens that I'm used to are bits of coal that I've borrowed.
Can you even
moment.
write?
No, it's just pretty drawings.
Hmm.
It is 4 votes for the laser. I'm going to call the vote there. So,
It's actually 3 votes for the laser.
well,
An additional 1 from a honeybee as well.
oh, it's 3 from the honeybee. Fair
People
enough.
love my lasers so much they're willing to commit electoral fraud!
4-2 lasers versus... I think the lasers have it, I suspect.
I do, yes, indeed, think that the lasers do have it.
Lasley!
So yes, indeed, that is 1 proposal for successfully gone through, and I do believe that this policy would avert, or my expertise would have stopped the worst harms of the policy by the us poor working underclass of this great kingdom here, been helping grow this. We'll be helping grow this Lasley, and it'll provide lots of traditional jobs and all that. And his accent's travelling everywhere for some reason.
Yes, I will have had the waif moved from mining to the Sylphium fields.
Yes, indeed. And that does obviously come with an accent change. That'll probably happen in the break.
Gotta have a Sylphium accent, yeah.
Yeah.
I can't do accents. I'm very sorry that I've been speaking that accent the entire game. It's been entertaining from this end.
Nobody speaks with an accent as far as I can hear, so...
An unintended effect to the policy that I observed is that we now seem to be having a burgeoning traditional increase in the traditional laser crystal economy of the country, and since many of my residents, my constituents, are work in the laser crystal mines, I am pleased that this has occurred.
Another unintended side effect, of course, came from a particularly careless day. You see, what the scientist, of course, neglected to mention was that since the laser light is attuned 5th dimensionally, it is solid as far as demons are concerned. So, a few demons flying around got bisected by the laser beams. There was one particularly dark day when someone decided to play hymns rather than the national anthem, and as you know, hymns are repulsive to demons, so...
That's very traditional.
There was a bit of a 5th dimensional stink in the air.
Unfortunately, though, this policy has somewhat hurt my council member, if only because I've been spending so much of my time on the copywriting and the perfecting of my Lasley principle, and the distillation of the Sylphium essence, that I've just had very little time to work on my passion projects, which is busting through the 5th dimension into trans-dimensional space.
Awesome.
Not cis-dimensional space. Got no time for it.
This dimensional space is good enough for the rest of it.
Do you not see my colour scheme today? I know what I'm about. Councilman Traditionalist Pants.
I think with that, I'm going to drop the accent for a few seconds. Just say, just because it now seems like a good time for a break. We're halfway through the four different proposals. If we're doing the normal one. Well, living on a prayer.
No one should sing via Zoom. What have you learned?
You love it when people sing
You
via
love it.
Zoom. You said.
Exactly. So yeah, we'll be gone for about 5 minutes. So probably 15:15 coming back. Get coffee, go for a piss, whatever you need to do in the 5-minute break.
Did you say 2:15?
1:45.
We'll see you in 35 minutes.
I'm awake. I never learnt maths. I only spent one day at school, but
This
it
is what
burned
happens when we
down.
burn the school down.
I scored with an own goal.
All right. See you in a few.
Don't forget to mute the audio in case we say anything racist. Good. Bums. That wasn't racist, but you thought it might be.
What the? I'm not entirely sure what's going on here. But
Lou,
it's
this game is fantastic, and
And we're back. Hey. Yeah. Also, I do need to ask, Izzy, whom is Sue? Whom is this Sue that you speak of? I have not met a person called Sue.
I'm choosing to ignore you because I don't find that level of humour funny, Wraith. Not
I mean-
funny!
I didn't know what you were talking about. Then I read the chat and I was like, that's not funny.
Not funny!
You have to pretend it's funny because it's his channel.
Oh, sorry.
No. You don't have to pretend
I
it's
make
funny.
a mocking laughter.
Is this like the bad guy in the first of the reboot Muppets films? Evil laugh.
Oh, well, if it helps, I've been for laughing at the waif. A fly has decided to kill itself in my coffee.
I rule all on this channel. You think you know what you're doing, demons, but you do not.
R.I.P. Drosophila.
Okay, so I do believe that it is time, and I'm still debating whether or not it's a good idea to even have this bloody accent that I'm doing. I don't know what this accent's going between. I think I'm really trying to be
I
Tim the
maintain
Goblin.
you have a northern accent.
north.
You can just be from the north.
Yes, but
That's
if I
the
try and
north.
play it up,
Away from the north.
Already.
If I try and
sounded
play
like
it
a
up.
northern waif.
You already do sound like a northern waif.
fair
You just
enough.
need to like lean into it a bit.
I was just trying to do the Tim the Goblin from Dicebreaker, I think.
I don't know what that means.
It's
It's
a
not a
particular
reference
character
I
in the
understand.
in Dicebreaker's D&D.
Be your own
podcast.
man.
You
Be
sound,
Be your own goblin.
sound so post.
There are much better goblins out there.
be post.
Hey up, Pat. Is that the pause? Bloody hell.
Bloody hell.
Great, it's amazing.
Hey, Pat, I've been working in self mines.
It's so nice. I fucking love that.
It's just to make your
The thing
voice
is, I
squeaky.
was gonna say, I
hell.
can't. My voice is squeaky enough already. I assume that.
Let's okay. How about for the next
Anyhow.
round? For the next round, the demons have swapped all of our bodies and personalities. I'll be the waif.
Right.
Just a little waif. I can't see a thing through these glasses. Oh, I do hope I don't die of black lung. But in the meantime, why don't we just plant rainbows?
Oh yes. Right. Okay. So I do believe that we have two of these here. I'm going into a weird accent.
Who's
two
rolling the
more-
dice next?
Yeah, who's rolling the dice next? I'm going to leave it as a sort of voluntary thing, really. It does
I
say
just
to the
rolled
person
my
to the...
curiosity, so I'm happy to
Okay.
go.
Yeah, we'll
unless
go with that.
Ruben wants
Plus,
to.
it's continuing round in the left. Because it says like person to the left in the previous one, and vaguely in the order on the thing, that would make sense.
Okay.
I'm last. Yeah.
So we have another trade and tourism matter to consider. We want to promote tourism through the creation of a new monument. What should we create? I have an answer. It's the only answer needed. Constitutional policy dictates that you'll get 4 answers, demons. But you'll hear my answer, and you'll go for it. So in fairness to the others, I'll go last.
Oh,
Power move.
that was
Cunning
indeed a
play.
power move that I used to much less effect in the previous round when I was the one doing the proposal. Well, the original thing. I don't know.
In that
Anyway.
case, I shall go first, because this is right up my street. I think that we should have a monument to our finest king, Theopold the Slaver.
Was Theopold the Slaver not the one we just got rid of?
No, that was Theopold the Unready.
Right. Got you.
And
I do know that
also
we all know that tradition
Theopold
in
the
this
Great,
country is that
Theopold the Large, or
I was gonna say-
Theopold the Wombat.
we all know that Theopolds in this country, kings are all traditionally named Theopold as a mark
Theopold
of
the Slaver was the
Theopoldy.
greatest king this country ever had. He conquered 7 separate adjoining kingdoms, even the flooded ones, by a cunning series of traditional door-based boats. So, I propose that we encourage trade and tourism by making a 20-foot tall golden statue to Theopold the Slaver.
All right.
Okay,
My question is a simple one. Out of what?
Gold, traditional.
Well,
I admit, also, to the best of my knowledge, poisonous to demons. But that is a side effect I'm willing to deal with.
Okay.
I must ask, is there a particular reason why you chose 20 foot? As for what I remember, the standard statue size was indeed a bit bigger, because if we're doing particular people, it was generally considered a colossus.
You raise an excellent point. We should adhere to traditional statue sizes. I agree. Yes.
Have you considered,
Probably not.
given that Theopold's door-based navy was considered innovative for its day, that we also build a working replica of Theopold's flagship, the Murdering Nancy, and we set it on
Named
bollocks.
after his famous mistress, Murdering Nancy.
Murdering Nancy, the
Yes.
famous mistress. After which we all know the children's nursery rhymes: Murdering Nancy, she'll
She's
murder
gonna
you.
get you, Murdering Nancy.
Nancy.
Yes.
Yeah.
I
That
thought
we-
it was. I thought it was going to be. I thought it was Nancy. Are you okay? Are you okay? Are you okay, Nancy?
That sounds too
She
much.
was not.
No, she wasn't.
Well, I'm
okay.
only a little waif. I'm only 7, so I
Quiet,
never knew
waif.
stuff.
No, you were 7 years ago. Weren't
He
you?
only knows
Inside
you
of
get
last
to-
level.
I'm always 7. It's part of the demon's
They
curse.
teach you traditional nursing rhymes in. Oh, that's cool. Yes, good point.
Anyway,
Awkward.
so this gold statue could be upon the prow of a hydraulic replica of the Murdering Nancy, and we could set it so that it continually sails in place, and as it goes, the clockwork mechanism plays Murdering Nancy, she's gonna get you, Murdering Nancy. And I think that would be an innovative nod to the past, while improving our 5-dimensional clockwork industry.
Yes. No.
I forgot my question, but I'm that.
I
On your
accept
proposal.
the amendment of the honourable council member, and I'm pro this plan.
I'm not quite sure this is how this is supposed to go, to be honest.
Neither do I, but I don't.
As long as we
Not
adhere to the
workshop
plan.
an idea together.
Yeah.
Workshops are very traditional.
You're supposed
Mr.
to ask
Watson.
specialist questions they can't easily answer to make their proposal
Yes.
look dumb.
I know. It's just funny being this. I was trying to come up with like the weird, stupid ones. But yeah. Anyhow, if I may step up and give my proposal, I slip back into Saxon again. Fuck it.
Language.
Swearing is
Swearing
is
younger
not,
these days.
swearing is not science.
But it is traditional. The I do believe that as it is indeed a bit fanciful to do this, that but it would be really cool is if we had a statue of one of you lovely demons done at election. Obviously, you guys are 5th-dimensional beings, so we'd have to do just a 3D corporeal version. So it will probably be entirely inaccurate. But it would be a nice nod to this year that we've spent together, because I feel we've grown closer as friends.
Don't you think the demons deserve more than 3 dimensions, Waif?
I don't know how to build
3
a
dimensions
statue
was
in
good enough
5
for our forefathers.
Our
Exactly.
forefathers were human.
And also, I would love to meet the sculptor in 5 dimensions, personally. But all the sculptors I've met, and to be fair, that was just one. That was Larry. But you could only do 3, maybe 2 on a good day.
Poor effort.
And now my heart is a bit broken by Ash from now on.
I have a question.
Indeed.
Why?
Well, because it just seems like this was a big turning point in our years thing, due to the old deposing the previous king and all. I just felt it were a nice idea to appreciate the ones who've helped us get to where we are today.
My question.
Yes.
Will you be choosing the oldest demon to make the statue to?
I was going to go by the traditional process that I think as far as I know, it's the traditional process of electing a demon through a series of complicated proposals in a weird, weird school game that involves making proposals for a kingdom running for a year.
That
and
is how we run this kingdom. Yes.
indeed, we do this, but on a smaller scale. smaller and smaller and smaller, and we do it on one of those.
So an elaborate proposal committee. Yes, of course.
Indeed,
traditional
indeed,
fashion, yes.
in traditional fashion. I don't believe there are any further questions. I would like to say thank you for your time.
Right. Hello, Science Council here. We want to promote tourism through the creation of a new monument. I propose a monument to the spirit of science. This monument will be also a part statue, part installation, part interactive learning experience. It will exist in 5+ dimensions. It will be representative of the innovative and scientific spirit of this great nation. It will have 12 arms representing the 12 branches of science. Those arms will be holding hands, high-fiving, giving each other the finger. They will be representative of all sexes and genders at the same time. They'll be dressed in the fashions that have been most innovative throughout history. For example, hats, beard warmers, those kind of gloves that have the mitten bit that you can flip over and give yourself fingerless gloves and mittens. Of course, we will mention our tremendous door industry, and as a light to the future, it will be mounted with a giant Lasley Silphium laser pointed straight at the moon, and it will display upon the moon our nation's the faces of our nation's great scientists on a bi-weekly rotation. Any questions, gentle peeps?
How much do you imagine this is going to cost, given that we've just freshly annexed a neighbouring kingdom?
I reckon possibly in excess of some money. A portion of the economy, but I think that if we minimize the amount of money we are spending on days off for the children, we can more than willingly make it up in construction of the monument for science. And as they are building it, will not the slave children be enriched by the experience?
Indeed, we would. I also would like to, before I ask my question, raise a counterpoint of also this annex is now a revenue-earning water park.
Doesn't make money exactly, but
It makes
it makes fun for the demons, which is as good as money or better.
Indeed. But my question would be, does this Lasley construction to the moon, as well as being on a bi-weekly rotation, would there be different settings for different events? For example, Green Eggs and Ham Day. Would there be like the great scientist Dr. Seuss on the moon?
No, he was a theoretical literatician, not the same discipline, not one of the 12 branches of science, therefore not one of the faces to be representative of the moon. I think we're going to start with me. Go to some of my colleagues, those that have favourably peer-reviewed my papers, and then, we'll see.
Not reviewer 2. My query.
Viscount Tory scum.
Yes, so as we may be aware, those of us who've had more than one day of schooling, in 1272, Theopold the not entirely sane declared war on the moon.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I should query whether this of course, in 1273, after he died in an unfortunate mongoose-based accident, Theopold the less not entirely sane declared peace with the moon.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I would be deeply concerned that our long-standing peace with the lunar personages and any possible nations that may be there could be threatened by, or indeed colonized, or perhaps, if we wish, by the fact that we are going to point a laser at the moon. Could they consider it a cessation of the long-held peace, the Kingdom Lunar Peace Accord?
Fantastic question. I have in fact given it a great deal of thought. Given the the power of my Lasley generators, I doubt that the strength of the laser will be even a fraction of amount of the power that the sun itself hits the moon with on a regular basis. And as far as I know, the moon is not at war with the sun.
The sun has never made any such declaration to our
No,
knowledge.
of course. However, we have it on paper. Therefore, I am suggesting that perhaps as part of the test for the Lasley device, we use it to project our peace treaty to the moon as a gesture of goodwill and as a reminder to us. But also, I am part of the people who believe that the mongoose that killed Theobald the Not Entirely Sane was in fact a moon goose. Therefore,
Can someone make that, please?
That is a very traditional
The moon
conspiracy.
goose.
the traditional conspiracy that our king was assassinated by moonish agents. Therefore, I maintain that the Lasley device of fun and frivolity could also be turned into a death ray should war ever break out between our people and the terrible lunar consortium.
No further questions. I'm satisfied by this proposal.
But yeah. Also, can we please can we please have art of a moon goose at some point from somebody, please, or even if it's a pull Photoshop. I just want to see a moon goose.
You can't see moon geese.
Yeah,
though.
you can't. That's why they're so
How
terrible.
else would they easily have committed the assassination?
Or by disguising as mongooses, which are also invisible.
Well, if they're both invisible, then we can't have art of either.
Yeah, I've
Artist
already drawn them.
interpretations. Ah.
Anyway, thank
Good-
you,
good work,
thank
Vice
you,
Admiral.
thank you, good gentle counsel.
And the one we've all been waiting for, apparently.
Well, we've heard some excellent proposals. I was particularly taken by the idea of the moon laser. Humans, honored counselors. 2 words, 9 syllables. 24-hour demon palooza.
Turn down for what?
Please don't get struck for copyright, please. But yeah.
24-hour demon palooza. Picture it. You demons are immortal. You're not going anywhere. You're not dying. And you're freshly empowered by the souls from the tourist attractions we've been building. A laser is very impressive if you want to lightly scar the moon, I suppose. But a party where all of the deadly sins are celebrated all at once will send the stars themselves insane. The music will be blaring so loudly that our neighbors, may I remind you, our international neighbors, whom we find very annoying, will be constantly complaining about us. Meanwhile, our hair will get longer and more outrageous, ever more brightly colored. Our clothing will get harder to understand by fuddy-duddies. Our politics will get radical and incomprehensible. And the sun itself will only rise hesitantly, embarrassed by how garish our planet has become. 24-hour Demon Palooza. Turn down for that.
That is indeed a very interesting proposal. I did have a question. It's already gone again.
All right, I've got a question. Hello, Science here.
Oh no.
As you can tell, I'm a bit of a wacky character. I don't fit in with the science community. This Demon Palooza, as you say. You and I might have our disagreements over the nature of demonic forces or etheric influence. But what would be at this Demon Palooza for the quirky members of the human community?
This event is meant to disturb the human spirit, to jar human complacency. The only thing that humans are offered at the 24-hour Demon Palooza is terrible Lovecraftian madness. The sort of madness that would turn someone into a homophobe or anti-Semite. The sort of madness that would make someone not protect their copyright so that after they died, their estate made no money from their book sales.
I know I've only got one question, but I'm asking you a second question anyway, because science doesn't care about your rules. Would there be room at this 24-hour Demon Palooza for some sort of grand Lasley display?
Ordinarily, I would not answer your question because you're not allowed to ask 2 questions. However,
Science cares not about your rules.
However, the demons don't care about rules very much either. So I will say this. We will invent new kinds of light and use all of the old kinds, laser or otherwise. If you need help remembering the finer details of this policy, the phrase "turn down for what" is actually a very large acronym explaining it perfectly.
Acronyms.
Indeed, my question would be that, would there be place for, because assumingly all the demons here are going to be partying, so none of them are going to be up for doing, say, bar staff or, what counts as cleaning in a demon palooza, etc. Presumably that means that we need to hire more local help, like other humans like me who's down the mine. Would that not take away from the current economy down the mine, down the Sylphian mines, making the stuff for the Lasley thing?
No. First, for the record, I resent the implication that demons are in any way filthy. They are, of course, in very
I'm not saying they're filthy.
They are in one precise way filthy, but they don't generate any mess that a human might want to clean up. Secondly, no, we shall not have to hire anyone. People will volunteer. You forget, many succubi and incubi will be attending this 24-hour demon palooza. Therefore, people who catch sight of the party will be drawn immediately into it. Your concern about bartending, though a minor one, is frankly absurd. If you've ever met a demon and seen them mix a cocktail and twirl the shaker in 5 dimensions, you'll know that all demons, by the time they are licensed to appear on the earthly realm, are expert mixologists.
That's good then. Means my mine job is still safe.
Oh yes, we wouldn't want... Well, I mean, unless you happen to walk by the 24-hour demon palooza and get seduced by a passing succubus or incubus, in which case, of course, you will simply wish to give up your mining job and surrender yourselves entirely to the demons. But it will be of your own free will, of course, because of just how attractive they are.
Quick reminder that canonically, waifs like myself are always 7 years old. But
yeah,
I would say
succubi
no.
and incubi make absolutely amazing babysitters.
That they do.
What do you think Mary Poppins was?
There
we go.
I was actually going to say Balrog, but they were.
Thus assuming that Mary Poppins was also an excellent mixologist, which is a headcanon I ascribe to.
Mary Poppins made a
Spoonful of
cocktail
sugar.
that changed flavour whoever drank it. She was an amazing
And if I recall, her medicine tasted like rum.
rum punch. Yes, indeed.
Headcanon accepted.
Headcanon indeed.
Might I inquire further
Please.
regarding the nature of the succubi?
Oh, yes.
Might the traditionalist get to meet
Very,
some?
very traditional.
Could I meet one?
Your lordship is currying favour, I believe. As to
Out
that,
of curiosity and, of course, a wish to ensure the safety of my constituents, and no other reason whatsoever.
no, I would not ask you for a reason. As a well-renowned warlock, I know many succubi. I would be pleased to introduce your lordship to 1 or 7 of my acquaintance.
That is entirely satisfactory.
Thank you very much for asking your questions about my 24-hour
Right.
demon
Get on it.
palooza. Turn down for this.
Alright, well, I don't know if there needs to be a vote to be had there, but I need to keep with the formalities of the rules, because we already broke one earlier. We should stick with them anyways. And it should include...
Science cares not about your rules.
Science doesn't, but 24-hour demon closers might. So, a quick reminder of the possible things. So, for me, it was the statue of you, lovely demon lot. From the traditionalist, it was King Theopold the Slaver. From our good science friend, it was the laser to the Moon Kingdom.
As part of the monument for the spirit of scientific endeavor.
Indeed. And also means that possibly eventually we can destroy the moon. That means get plenty of moon souls for you to have, which from what I've heard are tastier than normal souls. And then the 24-hour Demon Palooza.
No, you're not pronouncing it.
I'm pronouncing I am pronouncing it the way for
Hour.
Demon
Palooza.
I am pronouncing.
Turn down for what?
Bum, ba-dum, bum.
All right, we have one vote in for shooting the moon already. And indeed, also, I only had 1 day of school, as a quick reminder, so I don't know how to pronounce things right.
You don't know how to pronounce Demon Palooza. You will by the end of Demon Palooza. Demon Palooza will never end. It will be the last thing remaining when the Earth is destroyed. Just a huge soundstage with 100 demons dancing on it.
Oh, fair enough then, Ash. I'll probably wait for one more vote just to confirm the thing. Yep. That would be indeed all of them, though I do believe that is... So I'm going to count that as 0.75 and 0.25 to the Warlock and the Scientist, respectively, considering the whole shooting the moon thing is still part of it. I'm splitting the vote on this one because it's my stream and I'm breaking rules as I like.
Look, I accept that this Dedelarex demon supports my scientific endeavours, but I'm sure that should science...
No, it was all equally the fact that the demon known as Ash has been saying shooting the laser in the Demon Palooza, shooting the laser to the moon in the Demon Palooza, which combines your two proposals.
Eminently possible.
I suggest that's probably 0.5 votes for each.
If we can get the funding, but I do believe that is 1 point to Mr. Magic Pants.
It's Grandmaster Magic Pants, but I thank you anyway. And it's pronounced Magipon.
Magipon.
Ah, yes, of course. Grandmaster Magipon's Sauceberg, or whatever it was.
Magipon's
Warlocksberg, that's right.
Magipon's Warlocksberg.
Yeah. I am just the waif. I have no name.
Very traditional.
I had a name, I was taught
name.
it in school, and then the school was burnt down.
Quiet boy.
Exactly.
The school was burnt down to make way for a shelter for more mine workers, so it all worked out.
Mm-hmm.
No,
Otherwise, where
but
would
no,
you
it's-
sleep, waif?
Oh, no,
In
sorry,
mine.
it was a shelter for more coal, wasn't it? Sorry.
Yes.
I apologise.
Large coal bunker. Yes.
Anyways, indeed, it is your role.
My turn.
Viscount,
Roll the traditional
Torriscom.
bones. Yes.
Indeed. Traditionalist.
5 and
Jump
2.
my traditional bones, succubi.
Ah, you'll be... Yes. Oh, excellent. Yes, you'll be pleased, Warlocksberg. I have a 5 to do with magic. And
Oh,
2.
no!
A wizard is claiming that the pocket dimension in his tower is a sovereign... I say what? So he doesn't have to pay so he doesn't have to pay taxes. Now, I can entirely understand the desire not to pay taxes, but but we can't be having everybody else doing that as well. So, yes, what are our proposals to deal with this upstart?
Well, I propose that we mind wipe the wizard, so he can no longer teach anyone else about how to make pocket dimensions. And
You've been
indeed,
training with the warlock, lad.
I couldn't think of
There's
anything.
a ruthless instinct.
I couldn't think of anything fanciful for this one, so I thought I'd go for something
Muffin
weird.
basket?
Make friends with the wizard?
Yeah, but that comes under the
Been rubbing off
vassalage
on
thing
you,
that we
lad.
already went. Well, that was indeed your fault for inviting me to the council then, wasn't it?
No, we like you, Waif. You're an idealist.
Indeed. Oh yeah, that's true. Then I will retract my proposal and make another one after someone else has gone first.
Well, I think it's an excellent idea.
colonialize him. My type proposal. But sorry, you spoke first.
Well, I was merely saying I think this wizard's had an absolutely excellent idea. I don't propose to stop him in the slightest. In fact, this leads me to a secondary policy. Given that demons are fifth dimensional beings and thus exist in a certain sense not fully in our dimension, each demon living in a pocket dimension, I propose we take the legal precedent established by this very clever wizard to say that demons, of course, also need not pay taxes to the state. Meanwhile, I'm going to get working on my pocket dimension, so BRB.
My question is, of course, how does one construct a pocket dimension?
Be a wizard.
My question indeed was.
Hang on, I'm so sorry. I know we're talking about pocket dimensions, but I've just realised we didn't do the wrapping up part of what the Demon Palooza meant for all of our council people.
Damn it, of course, yes, we must follow procedure.
Well, of course, I will say that my expertise in the in mine working and black lung and things like that, it meant that I was able to stay in my mine job comfortably, and thus did not lose my mind in the big Demon Palooza.
I have been hurt, but in entirely acceptable ways by this Demon Palooza.
And of course, no impropriety.
And I will give no further information on that matter.
One of the questions is, how did your expertise stop the worst harm of the policy? I think that's pretty obvious. Around the gigantic arena that we built for the 24-hour Demon Palooza, I constructed an elaborate protection circle. Demons can go in, but they can only come out again once they're sober.
And if they've got their little wrist stamp thing that they get scanned
in
by
and
the
out, in and out. The stamp also works for the 48-hour Demon Palooza across the street as well.
Oh yeah, because of course they're fifth dimensional. Their days are slightly longer.
But the demon smoking area has been a complete nightmare.
In traditional demon fashion.
I think an unintended effect of the policy has been that through the well, of course, it's not a demon party. That's just what the locals call it. But through the excitation of etheric forces in this particular part of the kingdom, through my fifth dimensional scientific capabilities, I have been able to harness the energy produced by 24-hour Demon Palouse, as we're calling it, into a near infinite energy source to power my lasers on the palace, therefore making projecting our kingdom's carbon neutrality into a real capability for the future. So using newly found Demon Palouse energy, we have been able to do all sorts of things. Have lights on all the time, electric cars, you know, those advert billboards that change rather than you have to paste up a new advert. You know, it's the possibilities are endless.
Indeed. And now I do believe we're returning back to...
Returning to the wizard.
Returning to this wizard, I instead now change my proposal. That as the idealist I am, we can all...
I don't mean to interrupt you. I don't believe I've answered everyone's questions.
Oh, yeah, you haven't. I genuinely cannot remember what the question we had so far were. There was... Oh, that was it.
Mine was adequately answered.
Yours was adequately answered. You'd asked yours about the... you'd asked how does one have to do that. Did you ask one, Councilman Scientist?
I have not.
Did you...
So...
Tax havens for demons. It's a perfect plan. Completely flawless.
What do you intend to do with the economic shortfall created by cronyism for demons?
Hold on. Now, you all know me, honoured council members. I'm not one for sucking up to the magnificence of the demons.
Heavens no.
I'm not one for pandering to their every highly justifiable need. But let me remind you what we owe to this crowd of geniuses, handsome geniuses. They got rid of a wicked and ineffectual king, and ineffectually wicked king.
Theobald the Ineffectual.
In return for that, what right have we to demand that they contribute to our economy? If this country could really pull itself up by its bootstraps, we wouldn't need to charge the demons taxes. I believe in this kingdom, I believe in the demons, and in conclusions, gosh, demons, you look great today.
And... I was going to say... I had a
You had a
question.
second proposal.
I didn't. I was going to actually continue with my actual question, which, well, it's kind of twofold. In that, first of all, if you tried to put them up anymore, I think entire council would turn to a slip and slide. And second of all, if it does turn to a slip and slide, can I have a go? Considering I particularly value my mine working job, I haven't got time in my one day a year holiday to go to your massive water park. Was my question entirely missed, or is this just being met with an evil silence?
I didn't hear your question. I'm sorry.
It was, do you need any more butter to butter up these demons with? And if the inordinate amount of butter that is congregating in this room from your general direction turns to a slip and slide, can I have a go?
As you know, as part of the economic provision set aside for the 24-hour Demon Palooza, any substance with lubricating properties was to be funneled directly into the project for the 24-hour Demon Palooza. So, as buttered up as the demons are, it's none of our business to ask them why they need to be.
Fair enough.
Seems fair.
Well then, I would say, as my stepping in with this plan, instead of calling this one wizard out as a thing, as an idealist like I am, I'd like to think that people like this creating pocket dimensions should be celebrated. Therefore, I think we should turn this pocket dimension into make small other exits in other places, because surely, as it's a pocket dimension, it is the size of a pocket, thus the doors would be really close to each other. Therefore, you could turn it into a very convenient public transport system, which would then generate its own revenue, not require taxing from the wizard, and also be just generally suitable and helpful for everybody trying to get to and from their mine working jobs, or their fishing jobs, or their door making jobs, from the homes that they have been recently entered into, and souls taken by the demons.
Forgive me, Honoured Council, I have to take an incredibly urgent call from science, but I shall ask my question last.
Very well then. So, whilst I understand the desire not to pay taxes and laud the wizard in question for this desire, creating a pocket dimension when you are not a demon for whom it is entirely traditional and acceptable, creating a pocket dimension is not in keeping with the ancient traditions of our great kingdom, therefore must be stamped down upon accordingly, unless, of course, it is being done by demons. The wizard in question being human, this is entirely unacceptable, and I propose that we invade the pocket dimension forthwith.
If I may interject, I have not received any questions, so I have been, for my proposal of the turning it into a public transport system.
I have a question. I thought that the honourable Marquis of Tory scum was building up to a question.
Indeed, so did I.
I now see that, as usual, the Marquis of Tory scum was ramping up to serving the needs of the decadent aristocracy, and shall instead ask you, honourable Dickensian waif, a question. Public transport, making our economy more efficient, yes, that does sound very nice, doesn't it? But how do you answer the charge that by creating a public transport system based on pocket dimensions, which of course make use of fifth dimensional space-time folds, you would in fact be disrupting the already existing transport networks that demons rely on to be able to seem to appear out of nowhere?
Well, as this is one created by humans and so is thus restricted to three-dimensional perception, that means that theoretically it would be an entirely different place to fifth-dimensional space inhabited by entirely fifth-dimensional creatures. And therefore, a bit like a series of tunnels underground, it would be conveniently out of the way of the pre-existing transport infrastructure, and also would make use of traditional things like our current door making process to make doors in convenient locations in the traditional way, just with a bit of wizardy experience added on.
Well, as I was saying, I propose. What do you mean?
We still have questions.
I have to ask a question.
You do indeed, sir.
I strongly object, but it is traditional to do so. I would rather have proceeded immediately to the invasion. However, question. The public transport infrastructure sounds very proletarian, and I strongly object to it on grounds that the public would be using it. I would like to inquire whether there will be a private transport system as well, which can be accessed by those of us who do not wish to engage on the regular with the public, except, of course, for our honoured constituents.
Well, indeed, the system I was proposing was less of a transport and more, I guess, a public transport and more of a street with different doors to get to different places. And therefore, any particular method by which one could ignore people around you whilst going down a street, for example, a carriage held up by one of those litter things held up by four
slaves, yes.
by four burly men, or for example, a horse-drawn cart would, if we just made sure the doors were built big enough to accommodate for those and normal pedestrians, just until you get inside, of course. Therefore, I do believe that would provide means of privacy adequately. And if not, then we could just ask the wizard to make an extra one in another place, because as we are consorting with, going up to the 5th dimension, that means there's also a 4th dimension that we could still mess about with.
That is satisfactory, yes.
So, hello, Science here. I was busy talking to Science, so I wasn't listening to your proposal. But what are the potential implications for including the Lasley laser devices in whatever you were proposing?
Well, as it's essentially another street, but in a pocket dimension that I'm pretty much proposing, then you could just make it look pretty with all the Lasley lights, or use it to light up the area so people can find the correct doors.
I accept.
Someone remind me of the procedure.
Indeed, now it is time for your proposal.
Have I not already made my proposal?
Well, you started it, and then we interrupted you for the previous proposal questions that you interrupted.
Yeah, seems like us.
At this point, I can make my proposal. I propose we invade the pocket dimension and claim it in the name of the Great Kingdom. End of proposal.
Well, my question is, do you see a prospect of mining it for its personal resources? As obviously mining is very important to Dickensian waifs like me, who rely on it as a source of meagre income. Or will this be entirely unspoiled for the pleasures of the aristocracy such as yourselves?
Now, obviously, the aristocracy require mining waifs to keep us in our ridiculous wealth, so I believe our interests are aligned in this area if there is indeed natural resource that can be exploited in this pocket dimension.
How do you intend to annex the pocket dimension without expending demon lives in the process?
Obviously, I would only be expending human lives in the process. Any demons who wished to. I understood that the demons were adequately and amply provided for by the 24-hour demon palooza. But if they require further space for their 24-hour demon palooza, if it is a pocket dimension, potentially infinite space, then no doubt further paloozas can be built once we have annexed it.
The plural is paloozae.
Further palooza, forgive me, honest council member.
How could we make this invasion more science?
Well, the one area in which a traditionalist is entirely willing to accept the movement science is, of course, war. In which it will often be co-opted, and this being potentially a war, any further military applications of your science will be welcomed.
So you're saying is I could develop something completely innocent and you could turn it into some sort of weapon for war, and I could pitch a fit about it?
Or you could simply produce your favoured death ray.
I could either be an evil scientist or a no, the death ray was never supposed to be used this way scientist. I like it. Gives me
As you
options.
wish, yes.
I know it is not traditional for people to ask questions of those not proposing, but how in a non-warfare way would one be using a death ray?
You know, tattoo removal.
Indeed, I rest my case.
It's my proposal now, isn't it?
It is indeed your time for your proposal.
So,
Yes.
a wizard is claiming that the pocket dimension in his tower is a sovereign state, so he doesn't have to pay taxes. I say... Taxes. Okay, science. Sorry, I was on the phone with science, so I wasn't thinking about my proposal. There's a wizard. Wizards are crackpots. So a crackpot is in an altered etheric state, so it doesn't have to pay taxes. I say that we let it be a sovereign state, but we starve it of all potential technological infrastructure, including lights and my infinite demon Palooza generated power, and we stop the milkman visiting and all sort of matters such as that, and let him handle the innovation of his sovereign state, and stop inviting him to fun conferences until he either formally returns to the great nation state of wherever we're from, or enters into the world of diplomatic politics, in which case we can use his pocket dimension as an offshore illegal gene researching state.
Well, I guess my question is, as we generally seem to be trying to make friends with our neighbours when we're not invading them for waterpark land, that although the wizard will be banned from all sciencey conferences, will this wizard be allowed still to go to the bi-weekly wizard tea party that I've heard so much about?
Cakes and crackpots.
Indeed.
Well, I have no control over what the crackpots do with their time. Of course, he'd have to have all his relevant papers in order for crossing the border, and as the border is more of a a tourist visa.
The visa.
As it would be more of a trans fifth dimensional teleport ring, that falls under the purview of science, and therefore I should be the one to allow the papers to be handed out or not for a fee.
How do you respond to criticism suggesting, Madam Scientist, that your plan amounts to doing nothing since the wizard has no need of external technological access?
I don't. I hear those criticisms, and I don't respond to them.
All right. That's me
procedure.
told.
Viscount Turiscum.
We promoted him to Marquis earlier, so.
Oh, Marquis Turiscum.
That's happened.
Yeah, I think it's L now. It's L now.
So you're I mean, as the honourable council member Warlocksburg raises it, this proposal you suggest does it in fact it require very, very little to be done other than to refuse passage. I note, however, that what do I note?
Your impression's got
That
even more
the
accurate.
wizard in question has never previously paid taxes and may not actually exist. And therefore, I wonder if it might be possible for you to provide some evidence of the wizard's existence at all with the power of science.
I suggest that we, to prove the existence of this scientist, wrap this pocket dimension in a fifth dimensional bubble and pump it full of chlorofluorocarbons, which should act as a refrigerant. Once the various trans-dimensional entities have been frozen, they'll all float to the top, and then we can skim them off with a big trans-dimensional slotted spoon and count the particles. And once we've ascertained that there are enough wizard or crackpot particles within the pocket dimension or etheric bubble, then I'll be able to know for certain what we're dealing with. And I might need to, redo the experiment a few times. With
Seems
different...
sound.
Okay. And if that's the case, I do believe then that we have hit the end of the proposals. For the purposes of the demons indeed doing the voting, there is the public transport thing from myself. There is the invasion plan from the good Earl, Viscount, Marquis, Tory scum. And there is the possibility of doing less and just letting the wizard go, but essentially lay siege warfare on him from the wizard, not the wizard,
Sanctions,
the scientist.
yes.
And I cannot remember for the life of me what what Warlocksberg's suggestion was.
Freedom for all
Freedom
demons.
for all
Declaring all
demons.
We
pocket
use the
dimensions
wizard
tax
as
havens.
legal precedent to allow all demons to count as their own
Indeed.
sovereign states.
So indeed, money wrangling from the warlock. Please cast your votes now. We'll leave it a few minutes and then. That should be.
Dum dum dum
Dum,
dum
dum,
dum dum
dum,
dum.
dum.
You know, I think the Swiss cheese idea, this Swiss cheese public transport idea, might be the Dark Horse. Will Dark Horses be involved in the Swiss cheese fifth dimensional public transport?
I mean, first
You're
of
the
all, I'm
demon
I'm
expert.
no longer accepting questions, but indeed, if someone had a carriage with some dark horses on it, indeed, there would be then dark horses in the cheese dimension.
I see the demons have proposed to go and torture the wizard in question, but possibly solve the
Two
problem
votes
for us.
from Thing and one vote from Thing. I'm going to say that particularly, it is.
Oh, jolly good. Someone's for invasion, finally.
One person for invasion, two for Thing. That is over half of the viewing audience. So I'm going to call that quote closed on the Swiss cheese.
Hashtag
idea.
stop the count.
Hashtag stop the count. Yada yada yada. Political modern jokes. And with that, I'm going to say that that's the one that goes on. And for my council members benefiting from that policy by shaving his commute to work from 25 minutes of slow slogging with a pickaxe to 20 minutes of slow slogging with a pickaxe.
Nice.
Productive.
That's innovation.
I'm assuming in 5 minutes you can mine an entire ton of whatever it is you mine. So that's brilliant.
Indeed, us all the
Laser
7-year-old
crystals.
Yes.
Are there any further issues to deal with today?
So I think that
I'm trying to go through the other council member thing, the other final questions, and then I was going to end it off after that.
So I think
Do
the policy.
Do we need to summarize the policy effects?
Yes.
So I think the policy has hurt me. As predicted, the Swiss cheese network has created enormous problems for demons, and the demons have only one person they can complain to, which means my cosmic inbox is constantly filled with
Constituents, eh?
couldn't get to the 24-hour demon palooza because of all clogging up the fifth dimension. And I'm like, I can't tell them I told them this would happen. So that means I've got much less time to do all my normal warlocking, which mostly means very important private meetings with various incubi.
Science or tradition?
Well, I think my expertise what stopped the worst harms of the policy, because I obviously ensured that the traditional methods of Swiss cheese design were were adhered to, and that the passages through which the fifth dimensional organization was constructed were robust and in a very traditional fashion, thus ensuring stability thereof, but unfortunately exacerbating the issue with the demons.
The unintended effect of this policy has been that by increasing the free flow of etheric energies through the fifth dimension, it has created something of a convection current in the ether of the great nation, creating etheric weather fronts that, if harnessed, could have untold scientific potential. the
Renewable energy.
potential for which we are still exploring right now.
And indeed, with that, I do believe that our year-long meeting is sort of drawing to a close. We are now free to run the kingdom, and I do believe the person with the most proposals is now traditionally voted king. And I do believe that was the warlock, from my counting.
Really?
It is the warlock.
Indeed.
Oh, this is terrible.
You are now
So indeed, the
King Warlock Theopold, the Warlock.
Yes, I of course
You're
take
now
as my
King.
regular name Theopold.
You are now King
And-
Theopold the
but
Warlock, and you will be.
I'm Theopold the Demon Beset.
Yes.
And obviously by tradition, a demon-appointed king will, in however many years it takes my little brother to grow up, be overthrown by an army of deities and celestial beings and forces of goodness and wholeness and idealism
In the traditional fashion.
in the traditional
In the
fashion.
traditional fashion.
So-
I mean, have we ever had a-
Anointed
have we ever had a king who's been
Theopold,
overthrown?
King,
All
And-
hail Theopold the latest.
and
All
all
hail some
the
snow.
demons rejoiced.
Yeah. All hail,
Rejoice.
some snow, and a little bit of
Christ.
rain.
The national anthem has now become unsingable by the human throat, unfortunately. But that's okay, because the 24-hour Demon Palooza.
The what? Sorry.
The
Forgive my
24-hour
misspelling.
Demon Palooza, you could say.
24-hour Demon Palooza has now become a 26-hour Demon Palooza, which means that some of the demons are sort of having to split into two so they can overlap with themselves, but that's okay.
Well,
does
the
kingdom
use of the Swiss
survive
cheese
this?
network, they will be able to be
I
easily
think-
bisected.
I personally think the kingdom is a shadow form of its former self until the whole anointed celestial army. In terms of humanness, the kingdom is a shadow of its former self. However, for demons, it is a
It's for their
haven.
soul
It is a perfect success.
I
10 out of 10.
think what happens is, because the warlock, in an attempt to pander to the demons at the Palooza, kept gaps in the circle to let them in and out, behind closed doors. The demons, unfortunately, empowered by the Palooza, have turned the whole kingdom into a bit of a haunted wasteland. And because of the increased transport networks, demons can just go anywhere. And all the other kingdoms just go, can we just seal this place off? So a huge circle is made around the kingdom. And it's like, let's just let it happen.
And, yeah, as I said, until of course the waif's little brother comes with the army of celestial beings of varying kinds to bring goodness and light and roses and happiness to.
I'm afraid I think it's too late for that. Unless they're bringing more snacks to the Demon Palooza.
Well, more waifs means
Uh,
more snacks.
yes.
More waves does mean more snacks.
Yeah, as I was saying, this is like 18 plus years down the line. This is many, many, many years away. You've still got 20 years of wastelandage.
Oh, I'm long gone.
Exactly.
I mean,
So it's not your fault, probably.
Possessed. My soul is Swiss cheese by now.
In the
as
traditional fashion.
this kingdom is now de facto ruled by demons, it is possibly one of the most traditional kingdoms
It is possibly
in existence.
I
But I'm
believe
entirely
this is
satisfied.
the finest kingdom in the world.
No, it already was that, but yes.
I have uploaded myself into the Lasley web, and I exist as a being of pure etheric force.
Constantly getting bumped into by people late for work.
Very annoying, but I'm living with it.
Yeah, my wife is still just in the mines. Creating an underground, probably not creating an underground resistance, but helping the ones creating the underground resistance by casually turning a blind eye.
The water park's probably closed. None of the demons are interested in the water park now they've got the Palooza.
Cholera.
Becomes a haunted water park, which makes
Haunted water
which means it
park.
becomes a water
Ah.
park for ghosts.
Indeed. But yeah, I think.
Do we
probably
suspect
time.
the kingdom will survive this?
No. It does and it doesn't, I think, is the thing. It is indeed Schrodinger's kingdom. Because no one else is looking at it because this giant wall that's been constructed. It has both survived and not survived.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyways.
No,
with
hang
that-
on. No, I've realised it. Sorry. I get uploaded into the etheric web, the abandoned water park, which is full of all the miscellaneous technology. I inhabit the abandoned water park and become like a hyper-conscious space station, but it's a water park, and I become a conscious city-state.
Invade the moon.
Yes. Alright, awesome. And I think with that, I'm going to call that the end of Nowhere Kingdom.
In more ways
indeed
than
with
one.
lasers. But yeah, no, this was a brilliant time. Absolutely batshit, and I loved it. Thank you for coming on. Thank you guys for coming on for this. It was
Thank
you very much for inviting us. I'm going to use my own voice now because my throat hurts.
same. Well, my throat doesn't hurt. It's just I find like my normal voice is bad enough. I'm very sorry you had to put up with me naturally slipping into
Shut
that
up!
situation.
Shut up! You know, even on your channel, we don't accept you talking.
No
against
self-diss,
yourself.
lad.
Stop it! Stop it! Or you'll go down mine
Again.
You'll go down self-worth mine, where you mine compliments.
Thank you
Hey,
very much.
Michael, you're
Thank
right.
you.
Michael, we've had a lot of fun. Michael, I don't know why we're Northern Compliment Rocks, but we are. Michael, you're so generous to give us your space
gonna walk
and to run
You guys can
games
finish
for
the
us.
stream.
Hair looks lovely today.
Michael, Michael, you're so creative to have put together this thought for us. Thank you, Michael.
You done?
Yeah, maybe.
Thank you. But
Michael, you've got a nice smile.
No, I don't.
Sorry, I'm done. Shut up! And then a rock hits you in the face. Shut up! Accept the compliment.
Okay, and now I have to do a fucking outro from that.
Thank you, demons, for your
Thank you,
excellent
Demons, for your
related-
excellent demoning. It was amazing.
Thanks,
Um,
Demons.
all
We'll see you at the
very handsome.
24
our
Our
Demon Palooza.
You are very handsome.
Yes.
You are indeed all very handsome devils and demons. So general outro-y things. I have a Discord. I'm going to link that in chat quickly with a fancy Nightbot command. It's right there.
The engine
The two on that side of me generally can be found on a cool channel called the It You Trash Crew, where they do role-playing gamey things, and I've linked them as well with fancy Ninebot commands, because a lot of this stuff's fancy Ninebot commands. I don't know if you still stream, but if you hop over to Twitch TV Hefty Yeti, I do a lot of stuff with him, hopefully possibly some things in the new year that I may have announced on other streams already. So yeah. Many cross promotions there. Today's game was created by Light Vega, who seems absolutely lovely and has retweeted my thing going yay, like a lot of them, and it's adorable. I will probably be back in the new year. I'm going to take a break off for that because new year and my birthday is next, and it's my birthday in 2 weeks time, less than 2 weeks time now.
Happy birthday to you on the 29th.
Thank you. But yeah, thanks for all the fish, and I'll see you around. Bye. Yes, I will finally be 8. I'll finally be allowed to be 8. And